Let me ask you something slowly, and really think about this. Two neighbors. Same street. Same city in America. Same age, 40 years old. They both drive to work every morning. They both smile and wave. But one of them has $15,000 in credit card debt, and the other quietly owns investments worth $400,000. How can two lives that look almost identical on the outside be financially worlds apart on the inside? Is it age? Is it income? Is it intelligence? Or is it something deeper that nobody ever explained to us clearly? Stay with me. Because today, we are not just talking about numbers. We are climbing something powerful, the wealth ladder. And once you understand this ladder, you will never look at average net worth by age the same way again. Hi, I'm Marsh. And before we go any further, I need to say this clearly. I am not a financial advisor. This video is purely for educational purposes only. Always consult qualified professionals before making any major financial decisions. Now, let's breathe and look at reality. In the United States, according to data from the Federal Reserve, the median net worth of American households is roughly around $192,000. That means half of American households have less than that. Half have more. But here's the important part. That number includes people in their 20s, 40s, 60s, even 80s. So age alone does not guarantee wealth. Wealth follows behavior. And that's where the wealth ladder comes in. Think of wealth like levels in a game. You don't magically wake up rich at 50. You don't automatically struggle at 25. You move up levels based on decisions, habits, and mindset. There are 5 levels. Each level has its own emotional state, its own money habits, its own invisible ceiling. Level 1 is survival mode. This is where net worth is 0 or negative. Maybe there's student loan debt. Maybe credit cards are maxed out. Maybe there's a car loan and barely any savings. The paycheck comes in, and before you can even breathe, rent, groceries, gas, insurance, and bills take it all away. Emotionally, this level feels like pressure. Like walking on a tightrope every single month. You check your bank app before buying coffee. You pray your car doesn't break down. You avoid looking at your total debt because it feels scary. Imagine you have a small piggy bank. Every week, you put $10 inside. But there's a tiny crack at the bottom. So when you wake up the next morning, $9 has fallen out. You're trying. You're putting money in. But the crack keeps draining it. That crack is high-interest debt. That crack is living exactly at your limit. That crack is not having an emergency fund. The behavior pattern here? Short-term survival decisions. Not because people are lazy. Not because they don't care. But because when your brain is worried about this month's rent, it doesn't think about retirement 30 years away. And here's something most Americans don't say out loud. Millions of hardworking people live in level 1 longer than they planned. Not because they failed, but because nobody handed them a map. But here's the good news. Survival mode is not permanent. It is the starting floor, not the final destination. Now here's the question that changes everything. What happens when the bucket stops leaking? Now imagine something changes. Not a lottery win. Not a huge salary jump. Just one small shift. The bucket stops leaking. Welcome to level 2 of the wealth ladder, stability mode. At this level, something very important happens. For the first time, money stays. Not forever, but at least a little longer. Bills are still there, of course. Rent or mortgage, groceries, insurance, gas. Life doesn't stop costing money. But now when the paycheck arrives, a small piece of it survives the month. Emotionally, this level feels different from survival mode. The constant panic slowly fades. You're not checking your bank account every hour anymore. You can handle a small emergency without your whole life collapsing. Maybe you finally have $1,000, $5,000, maybe even $10,000 saved. To someone in level 1, that might sound like a huge amount of money. But people inside level 2 often feel something surprising. they still feel not rich enough. And this is where many people get stuck. Imagine a kid who used to get $5 allowance every week. The kid saved a little and felt proud. Then one day the allowance increases to $10 a week. Sounds great, right? But now the kid starts buying bigger toys, more candy, and new video games. Suddenly the extra money disappears just as fast as before. Nothing changed, except spending. This is called lifestyle inflation. In America, this happens constantly. Someone gets a raise from $60,000 to $75,000 a year. Instead of saving the extra money, they upgrade their apartment. They finance a newer car. Maybe add a few subscriptions. Nicer restaurants. Better vacations. The income went up, but the savings didn't. And here's another powerful force working quietly in level 2, the social media illusion. Scroll through Instagram or TikTok for 5 minutes, and it looks like everyone is rich. Luxury apartments. Fancy vacations. Designer clothes. Perfect lives. But what you don't see behind the camera is the credit card balance, the car loan, the buy now, pay later payments. A lot of the wealth you see online is borrowed lifestyle, not real wealth. This psychological pressure traps many people in level 2. They earn enough to look comfortable, but they never build real assets. Financial behavior in this level usually looks like this: some savings, some investing, maybe through a $400,000, but spending rises with income. So the net worth grows, slowly. This level often includes net worth somewhere between $10,000 and $100,000. That's progress. Real progress. But it's still fragile. Because one thing separates level 2 from the next stage of wealth. And it's not income. It's ownership. The moment someone stops only earning money and starts making their money work for them, they step onto level 3 of the wealth ladder. Now something powerful starts to happen on the wealth ladder. Up until now, money mostly depended on how many hours you worked. Work more hours, earn more money. Work less, earn less. But when someone enters level 3, the game slowly changes. Welcome to the builder stage. This is the level where people stop thinking only like workers and start thinking like owners. Emotionally, this level feels hopeful. For the first time, people begin to feel a sense of control over their financial future. The stress of survival is mostly gone, and the temptation of lifestyle inflation is still there, but something new appears: long-term thinking. People at this level start asking different questions. Instead of asking, "What can I buy next?" they start asking, "What can I build next?" And that small question changes everything. At level 3, financial behavior becomes more intentional. People begin investing consistently. Maybe through a $400,000 at work. Maybe through an IRA. Maybe through index funds or real estate. The goal shifts from spending money to growing money. According to financial data in the United States, many households that reach a net worth somewhere between $100,000 and $500,000 are often in this building phase. They're not extremely wealthy yet, but they have momentum. And momentum is powerful. Imagine a kid planting a small apple seed in the backyard. The first year, nothing exciting happens. The second year, the tree is still tiny. But the kid keeps watering it, keeps protecting it, keeps giving it sunlight. Then one day, apples start growing. Investing works the same way. At first, the progress feels slow. Maybe your investment account grows a few $1,000s in a year. It doesn't look impressive yet. But something invisible is happening: compound growth. Money starts making money. And that is the first real taste of wealth. Here's a practical life example. Imagine Sarah, a 34-year-old nurse in Texas. She earns a decent salary. A few years ago, she decided to automatically invest 15% of her paycheck into retirement accounts. She didn't change her lifestyle much. She just treated investing like a bill that had to be paid every month. At first, her investment account had $5,000, then $20,000, then $80,000. One day she checked her account and realized something surprising. Her investments had grown more in 1 year than she personally contributed. That moment changes how people see money forever. But level 3 also comes with a quiet emotional battle. Because progress here feels slow compared to what social media shows. People online look like they get rich overnight. Crypto millionaires, startup founders, viral success stories. But real wealth in America is usually built in a much quieter way, paycheck by paycheck, investment by investment, year after year. And those who stay patient in level 3 eventually unlock something even more powerful. They reach the moment where their investments don't just grow. They start supporting their lifestyle. That's when someone climbs into level 4 of the wealth ladder. Now we arrive at a level that many people dream about, but fewer people actually reach. This is level 4 of the wealth ladder, financial security. At this stage, something amazing begins to happen. Money is no longer just something you earn. It becomes something that works quietly in the background of your life. Think about that for a moment. For most of our lives, we trade time for money. Hours at work become dollars in a paycheck. But at level 4, another engine starts running: assets. Assets are things that make money for you even when you're not working. Investments, index funds, rental properties, business ownership, dividend-paying stocks, retirement accounts that have been growing for years. Emotionally, this level feels very different from the earlier stages of the ladder. The fear that used to live in the back of your mind begins to fade. Unexpected expenses are no longer disasters. If the car breaks down, it's an inconvenience, not a financial emergency. If the roof needs repair, you handle it without panic. There is a sense of calm control. But here's the something many people don't realize: level 4 usually doesn't happen suddenly. It is the result of years of boring consistency. According to financial research in the United States, households with a net worth around $500,000 to $1 million often start experiencing this stage of security. They are not necessarily living flashy lifestyles. In fact, many of them look surprisingly ordinary from the outside. And that's the secret. Real wealth often looks boring. Imagine a kid who starts planting apple trees every year in the backyard. The first year, one tree. The next year, another. Then another. At first, nothing looks special. But after many years, the backyard slowly turns into a small orchard. Now imagine every season those trees produce apples, without the kid having to plant them again. That's what level 4 feels like. The investments planted during level 3 begin producing real financial fruit. Here's a real-world example. Think about Mark, a 45-year-old engineer in Colorado. For the last 20 years, he consistently invested part of his paycheck into index funds and retirement accounts. Nothing flashy. No risky bets. Just steady investing. Now his investment portfolio has grown to around $750,000. Every year, even without adding new money, the market growth alone might increase his wealth by tens of thousands of dollars. Some years more. Some years less. But here's the powerful shift. His money now grows faster than his spending. That's when people begin to feel financially secure. But something interesting also happens psychologically at this level. People realize wealth isn't about expensive cars or giant houses. It's about options. The option to change careers. The option to take time off. The option to help family members. The option to say no to things that don't align with your life. Freedom begins to appear, but it's not complete yet. Because there is still one final level on the wealth ladder. A level where work becomes a choice instead of a necessity. And that is level 5. Now we reach the very top of the wealth ladder. This is level 5, financial freedom. This is the level many people imagine when they hear the word wealth. But here is something surprising: financial freedom does not always look the way social media shows it. It is not always luxury yachts, private jets, or giant mansions. In reality, financial freedom often looks much quieter. At level 5, work becomes a choice, not a necessity. Think about that sentence carefully. For most people, work is tied directly to survival. If the job stops, the income stops. But at level 5, a person has built enough assets that their investments can cover their living expenses. Their money continues to grow, even if they decide to slow down or stop working. According to many financial studies in the United States, households that reach $1 million to several million dollars in net worth often begin entering this level of financial freedom. But again, the number itself is not the real point. The real point is cash flow from assets, income from investments, dividends, real estate income, business ownership, portfolio growth. Emotionally, this level feels very different from the earlier stages of the ladder. The biggest change is not luxury. The biggest change is time. People at this level suddenly gain control over their time. They can choose to work part-time. They can start a passion project. They can travel more. They can spend more time with their family. They can say no to work that does not align with their values. Money becomes a tool for freedom, not just survival. Imagine a kid who loves playing video games. At first, the kid has to borrow games from friends because he can't afford his own. Then later, the kid saves money and buys one game. But after many years of saving and smart choices, the kid finally owns a whole game library. Now whenever the kid wants to play, he already have plenty of games available. He don't have to keep asking someone else. Financial freedom works the same way. You are no longer depending on a paycheck to unlock your life. You have already built the resources you need. Here's a simple real-life example. Imagine Linda, a 58-year-old teacher in California. For decades she consistently invested through her retirement accounts, avoided extreme lifestyle inflation, and stayed patient with the market. Now her investment portfolio is around $2.2 million. Each year, even withdrawing a small portion for living expenses, her investments still have the potential to grow. She doesn't have to work anymore. But interestingly, she still teaches part-time. Not because she needs the money. Because she enjoys the work. And that is the quiet truth about level 5. The goal of wealth is not to escape work forever. The goal is to gain the freedom to choose the life you want to live. But before this video ends, there is one final question we need to answer. How does someone actually climb from one level of the wealth ladder to the next? Because knowing the levels is powerful. But knowing how to move up is life-changing. So now you've seen the entire wealth ladder. Level 1, survival. Level 2, stability. Level 3, builder. Level 4, financial security. Level 5, financial freedom. 5 levels. 5 emotional states. 5 completely different relationships with money. And here's the most important thing to remember. Age does not decide your level. Behavior does. Some people reach level 3 in their 30s. Some people stay in level 2 into their 50s. And some people climb the ladder quietly over decades without anyone around them even noticing. The ladder is not about comparison. It's about direction. Now the real question is this: how do you move up one level? The answer is surprisingly simple. Not easy, but simple. You move up the ladder by changing one key behavior at each stage. If you are in level 1, survival mode, the mission is not investing yet. The mission is stopping the leaks in the bucket. That means building a small emergency fund, reducing high-interest debt, and making sure more money stays than disappears. Even a small step like saving $500 or $1,000 can begin shifting you towards stability. If you are in level 2, stability, the focus becomes automation. This is where many Americans either climb or get stuck. The key move here is automatically investing a portion of your income before you even see it. When saving and investing happen automatically, lifestyle inflation becomes much harder to sneak in. If you are in level 3, builder stage, the mission is consistency and patience. This is where compounding begins to work its magic, but only for those who stay in the game long enough. Increasing your investment rate, avoiding emotional decisions during market swings, and continuing to build assets pushes you toward level 4. If you are in level 4, financial security, the focus becomes protection and efficiency. Protecting your assets, managing taxes wisely, and keeping your lifestyle reasonable allows your wealth to continue growing without unnecessary risks. And if you reach level 5, financial freedom, the question changes completely. It's no longer, how do I make more money? The question becomes, how do I use my wealth to design a meaningful life? Imagine climbing a tall ladder to reach a treehouse. You don't jump straight to the top. You step on one rung at a time. Each step feels small, but together they take you higher and higher. Wealth works the same way. It's not one giant decision. It's thousands of small decisions repeated over time. So instead of asking, how rich should I be at my age? Ask a better question. What is the next rung on my ladder? Because the moment you focus on the next step, you start climbing.